fear of God is like, wow, what would my life be like without him? And you only really understand that once you understand how good life is with him.
It's like when you watch this amazing sunrise and you're standing over the cliff and you're seeing the ocean and this incredible sunrise and you're just like, whoa, it's so much bigger than you.
It just happens so effortlessly, so perfectly. And I know it's a 100% due to the fact that we're increasing the strength of our relationship with God.
There is a famous video going around of Kanye West, which we'll be able to put up here.
My mind just starts going down many different paths on exactly what could be meant by that, not from a negative perspective.
Love your brain. All knowledge, understanding comes from first. I'm super excited about today's topic because I think it's something that a lot of people think about, feel, whether they are of faith, not of faith, lukewarm faith, and it is about the fear of God.
I've had this conversation with friends before and we're going to talk about it around the fear of God, and they're like, oh, the common misconception is why would I fear God if, he's the highest entity, the highest power, etc.
Yeah, it's around this word fear.
Yeah.
It's if it's God and we're here talking about how God's meant to be unconditional love, why do we fear him? And I think that this is something that both you and I, and maybe you can share a little bit about what happened at the start for you. I remember, oh, by the way, I remember when we first started, I think it was more so me, towards the end of 2022, I started getting this crazy pull to read the Bible. And Alex gave me his Bible that his swim coach had given him. And that's kind of where the journey started or restarted. And a lot of you have been actually asking or reaching out and being which Bible do you read? So this is the Bible. It's massive, as you can see. So it's...
You need me to hold it? Is it too heavy?
Oh, it's so heavy.
Hey, are your arms okay?
Oh, I might have to stretch them out after. So it's the English Standard Version Study Bible.
Yeah.
And it's the coolest. I love this Bible. You guys can just look it up on Amazon. I've tried to put the link, but I don't know, it keeps blocking me. It wasn't even a referral link. I was just trying to get you all on the Bible. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so it's really cool because you have can you hold again?
Yep.
Oh, thank you. So you have nicely big written, and then underneath it actually explains parts of the Bible for you. And it makes it more modern, which I've really enjoyed.
Yeah. And just like most people, I totally relate where sometimes you read through it and you're like, what did I just read?
Yeah.
It can be pretty confusing. It's just the verbiage that's used in there can be kind of complicated sometimes. So as Corinne mentioned on the bottom, just reading that really helps us a lot when we're trying to understand what it is exactly that we're reading.
Yeah. And so on that note, I'd love for you to share with everybody, because I have a few memories of when I started reading the Bible and there was a little bit of resistance. Do you want to share with them a few of the things that you felt during that time? And I think it's important because I think so many people feel similar.
I can't really explain it, to be honest with you. I mean, there was a bit of resistance when it came to reading the Bible at first. And for me, it's going to be different for everybody. But for me personally, it really did stem back to my experience with it growing up. Not that I really had a super horrible experience, but when I did grow up, my parents, we would go to church sometimes with my family or my extended family. I've never really said this on our channel before, but my dad's side of my family is Greek Macedonian, and we would go to Greek Orthodox church and they would speak Greek or Macedonian, and I didn't understand what they were ever saying. And then I had a few experiences outside of, the Orthodox church where I always went and I could never understand what the pastor was saying. Maybe they had a hard accent, or it was just the words were confusing when they were reading from the Bible. And I never had any idea of what was actually going on. No one took the time to explain things to me. And also it was my fault because I didn't really take the time to ask as a 5-year-old or whatever, or 10-year-old, what does all this mean? But yeah, so when Corinne started picking it up and reading out of it and just, being inside of it all the time and reading it out loud, I didn't really show too much of an interest, but then she wanted me to start reading out of it. Wanted me to be the one that read things out loud. And I think things really decided to like turn around for us when we did go and get rebaptized. But after that, yeah, a lot has changed for me. I just had a sudden desire to really get into it and started kind of questioning where certain thoughts came from and certain beliefs came from surrounding the Bible. And after I went back and just pinpointed everything that I just explained to you guys with my experiences growing up with it, I was like, oh, I've actually never really given this a fair shot. I don't even know anything inside of it. You know, if we go from cover to cover or we read a substantial amount of it and we're like, we don't like this or I don't like this personally, then I can always just walk away from it. But why am I not interested in opening it up and learning? And ever since then, just we've been reading it and it gets more and more interesting the more you go into it. So
that's cool. I love it. And yeah, thanks for sharing that. And there's actually two main things that I remember you saying when I first picked up the Bible. I don't know if you remember this.
Probably not.
But I remember number one, you were like, I don't know if reading the current Bible is the true, legitimate, and you were like, I think it's been changed, and so on and so forth. And we had the discussion, which I'd like to talk a little bit about, with the like translation. Because obviously we're reading it in English. Like if anybody else has a second language, which like, for example, I do, I know just between speaking English and Italian that there are times where I actually want to express, like, especially emotions I've found. I want to express like a certain thing and I just can't find the word in English for it, but I know the word for it in Italian. And if I tried to translate that word in Italian to English, it just doesn't quite fit right. And so that I remember you actually bringing up and you were like, I don't know if I'm like reading the real thing. Apart from then the translation side of things, you were also like, what if they've modified it and so on and so forth. That was like one thing.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then the other thing that came up as we started like reading or as I started reading out loud to you was, why should we be fearing God?
Okay.
You were like, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, so wait, let's do one at a time.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't know if the Bible's been altered or whatnot, right? And it's true. I mean, as far as we've known, the word is thousands of years old, or, you know, when the disciples put it together, because it naturally leads you to believe, okay, there's something in here that's been changed or adjusted by someone who knows. And I had a really big shift in this so as Corinne mentioned, we went out to dinner with, this was my swim coach in high school, by the way. I don't have a swim coach right now for those of you guys that...
Sorry if I didn't specify. This was back in the day.
Yeah, really good guy though. We stayed in touch. He's cool. And he gave me this Bible actually when, I was like 13 years old. So I've had that Bible for a long time. Funny enough, like I do see who was my swim coach, this individual from time to time, like Corinne and I will go grab a bite to eat with him just to kind of catch up, see how he's doing, vice versa. And I remember having a conversation with him about this and I brought it up and then he kind of had a very simple answer to that objection. And he said, okay, like, let's just say it is God's word. Do you really think that like he would let that happen to it? Like he would let it be altered like that? Or do you think it would remain intact and perfect? All I got to say is like, me personally going through what I've gone through so far with you, even if things have been like altered in some way in here, the information that you still get from it isn't like information you're going to find anywhere else. And you have to be patient with it because it's slow in the beginning and you're going to probably be reading it for like a month, 2 months, a year or whatever and still be like, this doesn't make any sense to me, but you got to give it some time. And then once the stories start connecting and making sense and you really start digging into it, you're like, wow, there's like a whole abundance of wisdom and knowledge in this book that I wasn't aware of. And why was I ever so stubborn to not give it a chance? Or it's just the enemy, right? Like coming up with any excuse to not get you to read it. So I strongly encourage you just to kind of give it a chance if you're having that type of objection.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, I love Alex with this because, I mean, I think this is maybe like the why we work like so well as like a couple, or like he's the man that like leads and protects even in the way of like thinking about this stuff, which I think is like really cool because I'm like this like la 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 la. Like obviously I do like my own research in like certain aspects of my life, but in other aspects I'm just like, oh, okay. And I really value that like you have these thoughts and you're like, hold up. But then like we find the answers. And actually, I think God gives us the answers at the right time, which is really awesome. But I think that the big thing that continues to come up for me, and like as now we're going to start diving in and talking about like the fear of God, is the Bible was primarily written in Hebrew and Armenian, I believe. I think parts of it maybe even in Greek. I'm not sure. If somebody else knows better than me, over us, let us know in the comments. We're here just learning and growing and sharing as we go.
I think I'm part Armenian that we just found out. So shout out to Uncle Chris because he filled me in on that information.
So, you know, like it's just obviously like it's come from another language. And so I think it's so important that we're actually diving in and studying and something like this, the Bible, like actually writes it underneath and it will say, hey, here's the Hebrew word.
Yeah.
And then it will explain the actual meaning. There's differences. Like we can't use the same English word or the meaning behind the English word to receive the meaning that the Bible is actually trying to give us, which I think is
so really quick, let me see that.
Oh, here you go.
So we have so many books, by the way, guys. And I just got to say, so as I mentioned earlier, I've had this book for a long time. It's very interesting to me that like I'm literally staring at a bunch of books right now that we've had a fraction of the time and they've aged like very much like, and they haven't left the house. Like, it's not like I'm taking them on a hiking adventure through the Swiss Alps. Like,
you're so right.
They look deteriorated. And this book, I don't know if it's just the quality of the book. It's just like a miracle that all of the pages, like it's literally like in pristine condition pretty much. And I've had this book since 2012, 2013. Who knows how much longer I've had this before it was actually given to me. And it's moved to like multiple houses across the country.
Countries.
Like, and it's remained in like tacked beautifully. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with the book.
This has literally been around the world. We've brought it to Australia, Europe, obviously America.
We just bought new suitcases and we traveled to the other side of Florida and the freaking wheel broke off of it. And that was brand new. Like this book has remained on dent. Like there's nothing wrong with it. So that's just pretty much a testament to the word is very protected.
Have you seen where there's like these videos on like TikTok or Instagram or just on social media and it'll be like a house burns down, but the only thing that stays intact is the Bible.
I feel like you've shown me it before.
Yeah, go down the rabbit hole. Like it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Let's go and talk about the other question that you asked around, surrounding the fear of God.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I have a pretty good answer to this. And you're right. Like a long time ago, I questioned it because it all goes back to what does the actual meaning mean? And as you mentioned, it's translated from another language. So, it's always, the lack of information, right? What you don't know, you think that you do know. And once you start digging into things and understanding more about what you don't know, you're like, okay, like, let me pause and actually understand this instead of just making an inference on something. So after further understanding that it's not just about like, oh, I'm really scared of God. Like I need, as a Christian or somebody who believes in Jesus Christ, like I need to be scared of God. I need to fear him. And I'm still actually working on this for myself. But for me, I personally had the shift when a lot of good things started happening in our lives. And it's not like I'm like terrified or like scared in that sense, but so many amazing things have happened, especially the more that we like lean into our relationship with God, that I realize, okay, I don't want to mess that up. And anything that he's given me, he can take away just as easily. And over the past year, like, the things that have happened to Corinne and I are just, it's like too coincidental, like too perfect. Like we have nothing to do with it. It just happened so effortlessly, so perfectly. And I know it's a 100% due to the fact that we're increasing the strength of our relationship with God. So that's what it means for me. Like, I'm like,
yes,
I'm not like, oh, like I'm so scared of God that like I want to hide away and not like, it's almost like
not that fear.
It's almost like I want to get to know him so much and not fall away from that so much. You know what I mean? It's like that type of like attraction instead of like the repelling fear.
No.
It's like, what will happen to me if I'm not, building a relationship with God? Like the enemy will take over in the spiritual realm. My spirit will just not do so well. So I don't know if I explained that very well, but that's how it shifted for me over time.
I love that. Like, I think what Alex just like said and how he said it, especially like with just like the reflection of like our posture, is the fear of God. The fear of God is like when you're in so much awe. I heard one time, like, it's like when you like watch this amazing sunrise and you're like standing over the cliff and you're seeing like the ocean and this incredible sunrise and you're just like, whoa, like this is like so powerful sometimes. But I mean, cause I wanted it in a cuter way, but like when you just see something that is like, it's so, so much bigger than you.
Yeah.
I think like, and you kind of just like explain that with like, or you showed the example of being in fear of God as in like, oh my gosh, like he's so powerful and you like feel his love.
Yeah.
And it's just like this awness, right?
Yeah.
It's not. And there is a famous video going around of Kanye West.
It's another thing I don't like in Christianity, the fear of God.
That's not what it means. It's not a fear of being scared. We should not be scared of any action, of anything that God does, but we just know that he's the Almighty and the All-Powerful, and knowing that, or rather, when you are in absolute faith in him and trust, and you have surrendered your life and you just hand it over to him, you almost kind of like, and I mean, I speak for myself, I almost like don't even really care what happens in my life because I know God's like got my back and he's going to do what's right,
Yeah. The fear of God is like, wow, what would my life be like without him? And you only really understand that once you understand how good life is with him. So you need to kind of go through the fire and give it a chance for sure to understand that. And I don't even think like our understanding of it yet is that good, just because we're having a hard time putting it into words, and we're just trying to explain it to you guys as good as possible based off our current experience and this reality right now. I'm sure in the next 5 years, we'll have a different answer. In the next decade, we'll have a new answer as our relationship continues to build with God. And that's exciting. We get to come here and continue to share it and, show you guys how our lives have changed, and hopefully yours too.
Yeah. I'm excited for like this documenting of our journey because
it's going to be so weird.
Like imagine in 10 years time, we're going to come back and be like, oh my gosh, like that's where we were. But when we already look back just like 5 years ago now, like where we were and where we are now, I
know. I regret not filming enough.
I know, but here we are taking the opportunity today. So seeing as we don't know how to fully explain it to you guys, or we've done our best to our level of understanding so far, I did get together the actual meanings and also explaining the Hebrew word of fear. Because in the Bible, there's two different ways that the word fear is used. And in English, it continues to be the word fear. But in Hebrew, it's actually two different words. So there's one which is like the fear of the Lord. And that word is awe, reverence, worshipful respect. That's actually a big word, that it's like respect to God. Common misunderstanding is being afraid of God or expecting punishment. It's not about terror. It's about standing in holy awe before his majesty. So that word, when we say fear of the Lord, I don't know if I said this out loud yet, is yira. And I'm sorry if I like butchered the pronunciation, but it's spelled Y-I-R-A-H. That is yira, and that is actually the fear of the Lord. Whereas the second word for fear is pachad, P-A-C-H-A-D, and that instead is like terror, dread. It's the fear of like danger. So it's more of like a meaning like to be afraid, to tremble, to experience fear of harm. So when this word is used in the Bible, it's never connected with the fear of the Lord. It's about fear of other things, like you could even say like terror versus respect and worship of God. So that kind of like comes back to, you know, the importance of what we were saying at the start of like, actually, sometimes we need to go through and look at like the Hebrew word, the originating word, because it does say, or it gives us different meanings of like different things. No matter whether you were raised, and obviously everybody has different levels, but no matter how you were raised as follower of Jesus, as a full Christian, Catholic, something else, right? Like it's just literally learning a whole new everything.
Sure.
I did have just a few more things on the fear of God, which definitely like have helped me to understand it more. If you haven't noticed yet and you're new here and you don't know me yet, I'm a really big nerd. Like I'm like fully researching, like when I like get obsessed with something, I like need to understand it. So the fear of God is a posture of reverence, awe, and recognition of his holiness and of authority. So there's different ways that we can actually like view it. And we've spoken about the deep respect for God and the awness of the like, oh my God, like look at like how powerful he is. But then it's also things like a fear that draws you closer, not pushes you away. So the enemy, exactly like you were saying, the enemy actually wants you to think that it's about being afraid of God, like a punishment. But fear creates separation. Side note, zoom out, look at what's happening in the world right now. All the fear that's being created on, we can say it here, like on both sides. Remember that it's all to create fear, which equals division. It's all to separate when really we're meant to be uniting. But instead, this is meant to be the Spirit, the Holy Spirit cultivating reverence for God's holiness. That's a fear that draws near. So, for example, Psalm 2:11, serve the Lord with fear. Draw closer to him, be in awe, be in respect and worship of him, and rejoice with trembling. Even there, you're not trembling with fear. I know the amount of times I'm like trembling with excitement and with love and with like joy, you know?
If you think about it, like if you're going to serve him, you're not pushing him away. Like, as you just said in the beginning of that psalm, like I can just hear myself already thinking, like I'm repeating it over and over again, like the phrase in my mind, like fear of God. Like, what does that mean? You know, and I'm just trying to like really sit on it and think about it, which is really exciting because I know in the next, again, 10 years, my answer is going to be completely different to what it is right now.
Yeah. And one more thing I thought about is, and I've said it in one of the episodes here before, maybe even last the episode where we had the Bible study episode.
Yeah.
Proverbs. So for those that haven't watched that episode, I touched on how there was one time where I sat on our balcony watching the sunrise, and I was like, I had my Bible, the big Bible, and I was like, God, like, tell me like where I like find exactly what I need to know. Like, how do I just like, as you can probably tell, I'm very much about like knowledge and understanding. And I was like, how do I like know that like what I need to know, right? I open up the Bible, literally first page, Proverbs, and it's like introduction to Proverbs. And I was like, all right, I guess I need to read Proverbs. And the first thing that it starts talking about in Proverbs is the fear of the Lord. All knowledge, understanding comes from first being in fear of God, which is respecting him, worshiping him, understanding that he's the Almighty, he's the all-powerful. And that's amazing. And we're so blessed and we're so lucky, and it's so beautiful that we have him.
I'm too in my head about it right now for sure. Like I like want to know exactly what it means, but I know it's going to take time.
Can I ask, because I think you're not the only one that's probably like thinking this.
Yeah.
What is it that you have felt like is still not like fully understanding?
What is exactly meant by it? Like I want to pretend or act like I do understand exactly what it means, but the more I ponder on that phrase and just really think about it deeply, I realize that I most likely don't have, you know, my perception of it is not correct. And then my mind just starts going down many different paths on exactly what could be meant by that. Not from a negative perspective.
Love your brain.
It's kind of like one of those things where you got to constantly check yourself and check your beliefs and be a little bit of your own investigative journalist. Like just dig for information until you find out what's actually sits the most true to yourself in your heart, until that changes again, because that happens. You know, that's happened to me many times as I get older. Like I come to a certain belief, a certain understanding, and it gets refined over time. There's no like one answer.
Yeah.
Like there's no one size fits all.
Yeah, I definitely think for those that are like listening to this and maybe like Alex, but also like myself, like it takes time to process these things, to understand them. And
So true.
instead, because I did come to today's episode recording with my notes because this is something that I have been studying. And so for me, I've formulated it over a little bit more time, and it's a journey for both of us. But I think it's really important to process, but then don't take our word for it. Like you don't take my word for it either. Like go and get the Bible. One of the best ways is start with Proverbs because it literally talks about the fear of God. Go straight to the source. Like don't even Google it. Like go straight to the source. Read the first part of Proverbs where it talks about the fear of God and then pray on it and pray for discernment because again, like we're not God. We're just here like chatting about it. Yeah. This is the source and he is the source. So
DYOR.
DYOR in crypto and in the Bible and in AI and in all the things in life.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I love your little, you know, she's Italian when she starts doing like this and this and.
It's part of communication, but
it actually is super important. Like, it literally makes conversation 10 times better when you're just like, I gotta up my game.
I think that's a beautiful place to end it.
Yeah.
DYOR.
DYOR.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Enjoy. We hope that this has added curiosity or a deeper level of understanding for some of you, or even a place to start.
Yeah.
And if you're more experienced than us, you have even some ideas, thoughts around this, let us know.
Yeah.
This is a Bible study together.
This isn't a place where we know everything. We say it all the time. Like sometimes the purpose of our episode is literally just to chat and get you guys to think more and kind of open up that like mindset of curiosity. Like, okay, I want to dive deeper into this topic and go do my own research, or I want to ask questions in the community, or maybe you do know more about this and you can inform us down in the comments. You can educate us. You know, we're not rooted in this idea that we know everything and it's our way or the highway.
Amen. Yep. And we'd love your support. If you have not yet, make sure that you click like, subscribe, all the little different things. Yep. We love your support. And if you have not joined the Revival Hub yet, we have a free school community, or it actually costs $1. We're just getting things rocking and rolling there. We're flowing here, but we have some really cool things that are really exciting in there. So, stay tuned, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Yeah, and if this video hooked you guys, feel free to click this video right here. The algorithm is specifically suggesting this one right here. The algorithm doesn't lie, okay? It knows exactly what you like to watch. Appreciate you guys. See you in the next one.